So the US elections have ended, right? And Trump won the White House. Um, I, I mean, this news is everywhere, right?
Former President Donald Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. This means he has secured his second non-consecutive term in the White House. The last time this happened in 1885 and 1893 with President
Wild.
Grover Cleveland. Trump flipped Georgia back to Republicans, kept North Carolina red, and shattered the blue wall within his Pennsylvania win. Trump.
I I want to point out something. Trump might not have been the first choice of anyone here. Trump has a lot of things going on to him that are not likable. Trump is ignorant. We can all agree on that. I mean, just the level of the speeches that he gives are very, very low. He doesn't know how to talk, really. He doesn't know how to he's not a good orator, let's say. Trump is also basically the representations of America and Americans in particular. Trump is Berlusconi in America. Berlusconi was the literal representation of Italy. He had contacts with mafia, so at least the stereotypical ones. He had a contacts with mafia. He was with the mafia. He was indicted for that. Everybody knew that. He had meetings with them. He had a mafioso in his house in Milan, close to Milan. He had a lot of women. He fucked a lot of women. He had those parties where he would invite women and then fuck them, and they were young and so on. They were super attractive models, and he was literally enjoying life. And then he was rich. He was rich to the point that he could control a media agglomerate, right, which was a Mediaset, and he could, let's say, mold the environment, the communication environment, in order for him to be successful. And he used that then into politics to become the prime minister of Italy. After that, his career just tanked, right? Because all of that comes with a lot of things that are illegal, right? So he was a convicted felon at some point. He rerun, he lost the election at some point. But the time in which he was in power was 20 years, right? Where people, it was 20 years, but I would say for 12 of them, people really actually enjoyed his, let's say, presidency, meaning that you had two factions at that time, the left and the right was represented by Berlusconi. All the stereotypical things of Italy and the hopes of Italians to be rich, fuck a lot of women, doing whatever you want, being above the law, in a way also being associated with the mafia, right? All of these stereotypical things was the display of Italian mentality to the world. And often democracy does that. It just pushes stereotypes forward to the rest of the world. And the story of Berlusconi is basically the story of Trump. Trump is the same person. He is rich. He fucks good looking women. He fucked, at least. He's fucking 83 now. That never stopped Berlusconi because he's Italian, but he's older now. Trump is older. He's 78, I think, approaching the 80s anyway. But he's rich, he boosts his richness, he's the embodiment of American capitalism, of ignorance, meaning they don't care, he doesn't care about the rest of the world. Rome might be a city like the capital of Europe for him, he doesn't care. And to be honest, why would you care? Whenever I hear Americans Europeans that say Americans are really ignorant, Americans, why would you care if you're the first in the world? Honestly, if I was living in a country that was the first in the world, that everybody recognized as to be the first in the world, why would I give a shit what the others think? Why would I need to know what is the capital of Azerbaijan? I would not care. My land is secured, my country is good, is powerful, the military is unmatched. Why would I care? Trump represents that spirit. Trump is the American spirit in a nutshell. completely over the top, flamboyant, golden toilet, fucking cute, good-looking women models, being like this strong guy, or at least the projection of it, rich and boasting its richness to the people. People like that because it represents what you want to be, what your society wants to be, what the American people want to be. And I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. See, many people just say this is wrong because he's an ignorant, he's a bigot, and so on. I don't think it's wrong. This is just a representation of what. And to be honest, who doesn't want to fuck good-looking women, being rich, having jets, and so on? Nobody would say no to that. And I think people, unfortunately, this tribalism that exists now between the two factions, right, has unfortunately, unfortunately, being an issue for people. I don't understand why, when this has happened all across the globe. The left has become the party of the crybabies. It has. And this just pisses people off because this is not something you want to see from a political leader. You don't want to see people crying all the time. People, oh my God, did you misgender me? Or the pronouns. People are tired. They don't want that. There is actual people who cannot arrive at the end of the month. They don't care where you want to piss in the bathroom. And again, every right of any person, every civil liberty of any person needs to be taken into account. But you have also the majority of people that needs to be taken into account first. And inflation, economy, like a down economy, problems into economy, wars, those are things that you need to tackle first. The Republican Party, I say, and might be an unpopular opinion, but the Republican Party, if it didn't have Trump, would have won much harder. If another candidate other than Trump who actually can speak, so this is what it's scary right now, is that if it wasn't Trump and it was a candidate who could speak, who could lay down a clear path, imagine a Trump, so meaning somebody in the Republican nomination that actually knows how to speak, knows how to write, knows how to explain himself very well. You are at the risk that you will get a real fascist into the White House. You see, many people say Trump is Hitler, blah, blah. It could not be further from the truth. Have you ever seen a speech of Hitler? Have you ever seen, even worse, a speech of Berlusconi, of Mussolini? Pun intended, maybe. But Mussolini was a journalist before he knew how to write. He knew how to explain things in a way that rallies people up. Adolf Hitler just took that and made it darker, made it even more performative, made it even more powerful. But if you ever go into the speeches of those people, you realize that Trump is 1 miles further down the line that you can almost not see of the fascist spectrum. Trump is a capitalist. Trump is the embodiment of America. Trump doesn't have the capabilities of talking like Adolf Hitler. He doesn't have the organizational skills. He maybe has a little bit of the ego of those people, but stop calling people fascists when they are clearly not. He has fascist tendencies, but you can say that about 80%, if not more, of the politicians. Macron, even though being a liberal, he is more fascist than Trump will ever be. Macron wanted to be called Juno. He wanted to be referred to as Juno, Jupiter, or something like this. Like he wanted to be recognized as a half demigod. That's much closer to a fascist than Trump ever was or ever will be. Trump is an egomaniac, as I said, he's a capitalist. He's really a businessman, a capitalist, not a fascist. Maybe sometimes the two things can go, over each other and mix each other very well. I mean, you can see fascist tendencies, but it is not the same thing. And stop calling those people that for one simple reason. At some point, Trump will die. At some point, the old thoughts will die. But if you called everyone like Bush a fascist, Trump is a fascist, and that word stops having meaning. It stops having meaning. And at some point, the real fascist comes. You will say he's a fascist, and everybody will say, well, you said that about Trump, you said that about Bush. Nobody gives a shit anymore. And you are then at risk that fascism actually takes place in your country. Trump is, this is unpopular, but Trump was likely the best choice out of the two. Kamala Harris was a low energy, low proposals person who didn't stop laughing. She ran out of outdated agenda. She was still running with the agenda of Joe Biden in a way, who was an unsuccessful president, who was considered by many to be just an old guy that you make memes out of. Trump ran out of the same agenda that he ran before, but with the difference that when he was into the presidency, yes, he made a lot of crazy speeches and he made a lot of memes worthy material, but the economy was doing good, while under President Biden it was going bad, and Kamala was part of that establishment. She should have distanced himself by him. She should have been different. She should have proposed new things. She should have been the party. She should have been the candidate of change, also in her party. But she didn't do it because she was a low energy, no charisma person. Trump at least had that, the charisma. He could joke, he made podcasts, he understood the new media, similar to what Berlusconi did in the past. As I said, he understood the new media, the communication behind it. He went to Joe Rogan, he went to Theo Von, and those are podcasts. He even went to Aiden Ross, a streamer. And instead, we are here discussing that he's a fascist. No, he just used this opportunity very well. I want to say something else, which is very close to heart in a way. I am not in America. I'm outside of the US. The world is getting darker by the day. If Trump really lives up to the proposals that he had to bringing peace to the world, meaning that he's the candidate of peace. This is what he literally said. He will stop the war in Ukraine in 24 hours, which I don't believe it will happen, right? I mean, if it happens, I will have nothing to say anymore badly about him if it happens in a good way, right? Without the outcome that we all know, right? He will most likely concede territories to Putin. But if he really lives up to the expectations that he is the candidate of peace, which again, I don't think it will, this is my only hope. I don't care how the American economy will go. It will have no impact on my life outside. I hope for you, Americans, that it will go well. I really hope so. And I think he will probably do a good job with that. But the world is getting darker. It is. And we are on the path of World War III. I hope that at least he brings peace in that regard, that he stops the war on Gaza somehow, that he stops the genocide there. I hope that he stops the millions of people who are dying in Ukraine. We forget about this, but it's millions of people, millions. So a real catastrophe, right? In Gaza, 50,000 people are dead, and it's a genocide, and it's an ongoing genocide from a party that wants to eliminate another. In Ukraine, is millions of people dying. Millions. I hope that he lives up to these expectations only. And Kamala would have not. So at least I'm happy because of that. Kamala was a Raytheon puppet, right? The administration already gave plenty of weapons to Ukraine. They gave already plenty of weapons to Israel to continue that war. I really hope at least, that he lives up to that part. All the rest is secondary. I don't think he's Hitler. I don't think he's too bad. It's gonna be a shit show, but it's gonna be just a funny shit show. Internal politic will be like always in America has been, right versus left and so on. But for the rest of the world, I really hope he lives up just to that expectation. And if America will realize that World War III is happening and try to stop it instead of incentivize it, I will be at least sleeping at night a little bit better. And I hope he really does it. I don't have like a political affiliation. I could not care less. I don't believe again all of those things. He's Hitler. Is oh my God, we are all gonna die now. That actually I don't think. I think as I said, it's better for the world that he won. Paradoxically, he's completely unstable, right? So other world leaders know this. If you fuck too much with the ego of Donald Trump, you might have a nuke in your house. And this crazy man mentality actually worked in the past. I hope it works again. This is just my hope. Yeah, and that's it.